Today we're talking about one of the most useful verbs in Spanish, llevar. A lot of people only learn that it means to carry, but if that's all you know, you're missing out on a lot of the ways that native speakers actually use llevar. Depending on the situation, llevar can also mean to wear, to take, to have been doing something, to get along, to take time, or to be winning. So let's go through some of the meanings that you'll hear every day in spoken Spanish. The first one, the one that most people will know and learn, is to carry or to take. In this case, it simply means taking someone or something from one place to another. So some examples, ¿puedes llevar esto? Can you take this? Another one, voy a llevar el coche al taller. I'm taking the car to the mechanic. And another one, lleva a los niños a la escuela. He takes the kids to school. So this one's important to know because English uses to take, to bring, and to carry, whereas in Spanish, they just only use llevar. So it's a perfect all-in-one verb, but it's not always going to be a perfect one-to-one translation to English. So the next very important meaning for llevar is to wear, and this one is extremely common. Instead of saying somebody wears something, Spanish uses llevar. So some examples, lleva una camisa azul. He's wearing a blue shirt. Siempre llevo gafas. I always wear glasses. Hoy lleva maquillaje. Today she's wearing makeup. Hoy lleva maquillaje. No llevo reloj. I'm not wearing a watch. This one is really important because you'll hear it all the time when someone is describing themselves or other people. So something you'll want to note is that although usar can also sometimes mean to wear, natives often choose to use llevar when talking about clothing and accessories. So this next meaning is definitely one that can come as a surprise to learners, and that is I've been or a duration. Let me explain. So the structure of this meaning is basically llevar plus a time plus the gerund. And the gerund is just an ing verb that acts as a noun when you're talking about doing an activity, for example. So when you're using llevar in this way, you're talking about to have been doing something for some amount of time. So let's do some examples. Llevo 2 años estudiando español. I have been learning Spanish for 2 years. Llevo 2 años estudiando español. Another one, llevamos una hora esperando. We have been waiting for an hour. Llevamos una hora esperando. And one more, lleva meses buscando trabajo. He's been looking for a job for months. So you'll notice in all three of these examples, we used a gerund, an ing verb in English, estudiando, esperando, and buscando. So this one's important and you'll want to know it because native speakers use it all the time to talk about having been doing something. And you'll just want to remember that when you're using this meaning of llevar, after you say llevar, you'll want to use the ando or iendo ending of the verb. The next meaning of llevar is to get along. And this one is reflexive, so it's llevarse. So you'll often hear llevarse bien or llevarse mal. Let's do some examples. Nos llevamos muy bien. We get along really well. Nos llevamos muy bien. Another one, ¿te llevas bien con tu jefe? Do you get along well with your boss? Another one, se llevan fatal. They get along terribly. Se llevan fatal. This one's important because you'll hear it whenever people are talking about friends, family, coworkers, and just their relationships in general. The next thing that llevar can mean is to take time. This is a little bit similar to the other one we covered where we were talking about the having been doing something. But in this case, you're using llevar to say that something takes a certain amount of time. So for example, el viaje lleva 3 horas. The trip takes 3 hours. And one more example, preparar esto lleva tiempo. Preparing this takes time. So this one's a little bit different than English. In English, we say it takes 3 hours to do something. And in Spanish, it's just lleva. Another way that llevar can be used is to say to be winning or to be ahead. And this one is extremely common in sports. So for example, España lleva 2 goles. Spain is up by 2 goals. Another one, lleva 5 puntos de ventaja. He's ahead by 5 points. And one more example, mi equipo lleva 3 victorias. My team has 3 wins. So if you watch sports in Spanish, you'll probably hear this one a lot. But I also wanted to go over some common bonus expressions with the verb llevar. We have llevar razón, which is to be right. Llevar razón. This is very common in Spain, whereas in Latin America, you're probably more likely to hear tener razón, which also means to be right. Another one is llevar una vida, which means to lead a life. So you could hear something like lleva una vida tranquila. He leads a peaceful life. You can also have llevar bien and llevar mal, which means to handle something well or to handle it poorly. So for example, no llevo bien el estrés. I don't handle stress well. One quick note on llevar is that the double L is not pronounced the same everywhere. In most of Latin America, it'll be llevar, whereas in Argentina and Uruguay, they'll say llevar because they pronounce their double L more like a she, which I don't personally use that form, but if you hear something that sounds like it should mean llevar, but it doesn't sound like llevar, it might be an Argentinian or Uruguayan speaker and they're saying llevar. So just something to keep in mind, because sometimes you'll hear those people speaking and you might not realize that they're actually using a verb it just sounds different the way they pronounce it. And quickly, I just wanted to highlight some common mistakes with llevar because it has so many different meanings. We kind of talked about how llevar obviously doesn't just mean to carry, whereas a lot of people think that's all it is. And then don't use usar for clothing all the time. Try to use llevar, as this is the one that Spanish-speaking natives will tend to choose. Don't forget that llevar and llevarse have different meanings, like we talked about earlier. And another one that a lot of people mess up is confusing traer with llevar. Llevar, when used that way, it means to take away, whereas traer means more to bring something towards you. So that's a little detail you want to keep track of. So that's all I wanted to cover today for llevar. It's one of those verbs that sounds simple, and if you only know it as to take or to carry, you might think that's all there is to it, but there's actually so much more to it, like a lot of important verbs in Spanish. And once you start knowing these different meanings, you'll start to hear llevar everywhere, and you'll realize, wow, this verb is used a lot more than I thought it was. So if you're able to start to master a lot of these different uses of llevar, your Spanish will definitely start to sound more natural. And maybe you'll just start to love llevar. That's all I got for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.